My name is Skyline. Still, we're back from the dead with the dailies, and I think I'm going to be putting these on my main channel. We're going to be trying them out. So normally, in case you didn't know, these went onto my second YouTube channel, but we're going to try it out over here. So let me know if you guys like it, and of course, for the people in the chat, hello as well. Today, we're doing a cool game, Envyus versus X6. This was played in good old Korea. Apex Season 3. Man, it's been so long. I miss doing these. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. As we see, this is Time Boy, or rather, sorry, this is Effect. We're looking at Envyus right now. This is Effect gazing longingly out at the ocean of Dorado. Like I said, we're talking about Envyus here. Envyus is on defense, and what's that? Well, yeah, it's a Junkrat. All right, cool. So X6 Gaming basically did phenomenally well with a Junkrat on attack in Dorado. That's really weird, so we're going to talk about why. Why did they run it, and why did it work? So we have a Junkrat, bam. And who else is on this team? Well, we have a tank, one. We have the Reinhardt. Tracer, Soldier. Now, the good thing when you want to look at why these teams pick the heroes that they do, you have to think about, well, what is it replacing? Normally, in this composition, you'd see like a Genji, maybe. If it's a triple DPS composition, you'd see like a Genji. Maybe if it was a 2-2-2, you'd see like a D.Va, something more aggressive like that. So instead, they're going with the Junkrat. What does this do? Well, it makes you super ultra mega vulnerable to dive. That's the problem with Junkrat, is that if you all in a Junkrat, he's super dead. And especially because they're up against Effect, one of the best tracers in the world on Envyus. You know, we have Mickey on D.Va, Coco on Winston. That's some serious dive that can potentially come his way. So let's see how they decide to deal with it. Now, what are some of the benefits of a Junkrat? Well, particularly, first of all, it forces your opponent to run that hard dive. Envyus is not known to do that. Envyus generally likes to run this 2-2-2. And this 2-2-2 complex, we're going to see, it could do it, but they don't quite commit enough ever on Envyus to kill No Smite on Junkrat. Interestingly enough as well, No Smite is normally X6's tank player, and he's flexing on to a Junkrat here, which is a bit weird, but that's kind of cool. So you notice X6 cleans this up relatively well. Now, against Junkrat, like I said, if you all in a Junkrat, he's kind of in trouble. It's not very good, but Junkrat's one of the best grinders in the game. It's really, really hard to just have a straight up fight where you're shooting them, I'm shooting you, and oh, look at that, we have a pause. Good thing we have the magic of space-time travel. So if you have a Junkrat, it's very, very hard to grind against Junkrat. What do I mean? So if they're fighting against you, you're fighting against them, just pew, 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 back and forth. The Junkrat just does too much damage. You just die. By the way, that was really sick pulse bomb by Time Boy. We're going to see some seriously awesome pulse bombs this entire game, by the way. That's like the secondary treat as well. But X6 will take this point with relative ease. Junkrat, of course, not too bad on the first point of Dorado because of all those little chokes and stuff you're attacking to. But now we're going to the second point. And we're just going to see it's not going to change. You can, because Envyus will stick on the same thing. And let's pay attention a little bit more to how Envyus plays this now. So No Spite going to come up here, just chip out a little bit. Build up some ult charge, stuff like that. So I put a trap down, they destroy it. All right, cool. Now, Envyus will not hard commit to this. You're going to see. They will not hard commit. First of all, we have Time Boy just being so annoying up here. Both of these Tracer players are so phenomenal. Being really annoying up here. And it's going to make it difficult for the divers to even commit because they don't have their supports on them. And they've already jumped down anyway. And now you can see the Winston has to come back up to help. And this entire time, you have No Smite, who actually did get kind of low, because look, they are diving him down here. You can see. No Smite's been doing damage this entire time. You're seeing Mickey's quite low. This is a lot of pressure for Envyus to deal with, especially with such a mid-rangey comp, where they're not all in or all back. They're kind of halvesies. Junkrat's very good against that, especially if you have a very good and talented Junkrat. Not that we've seen a lot of No Smite playing Junkrat, but he seems to be pretty good. From what we've seen, from what we're going to see in this game, he seems pretty good. By the way, that would have just been gross, right? Let's take a look at this fight now. All right, Mickey, here. effect with him. Where's the Winston? We don't know. We don't really know where Coco is. He's somewhere, but they're not together. That's the important part. As long as they're not together, then it's fine. It's fine. So, oh yeah, I'll put a link to that, by the way, chat. Now, you're going to see Taimu comes from the back as well, but, and the barrier is partially responsible for this, but you're going to see already a kill here by No Smite. No Smite's just doing so much damage, and even when he's not doing damage, it's just very, very hard to approach. You're going to see, like, that's just so much pressure. Look at those grenades, right? And so Envyus is forced on, ideally Envyus would be forced onto a more aggressive composition than 2-2-2. They can't really play it. At least they haven't shown that they're comfortable playing it. They generally like playing the 2-2-2. If they were to run a Tracer, Genji, Winston, Wombo, kill you sort of thing, I think they would easily kill, they would easily stop this push from XX Gaming. But let's talk about this a little bit deeper. Is this Junkrat just like good? X6 is like, we're gonna pick Junkrat, he's OP on Dorado, and that's cool. No, it's more of a metagame choice. We're gonna see it in just a second, or maybe a minute or so. We're going to see why it's a metagame choice. So, like I said, what does Junkrat force you to do? Junkrat forces you to play more aggressively into him. You kind of have to all in a Junkrat. If you don't do that, he's going to walk all over you. Well, if we look at this composition, what is really good against a all-in dive comp? Well, if we cross this out, remember, No Smite is the tank player. That's very important. If you cross out the Junkrat and you put in a Winston, suddenly, look at that. We have this mid-range 2-2-2 comp that's super, super strong against dive. So just swapping off one hero means that you completely hard counter each other. Like, they both cover each other perfectly. And now Envyus does not actually ever do this. Envyus winds up swapping off to something kind of weird later on down the line, but we'll see what No Smite does. So the moment No Smite dies, he's going to swap off to Winston. This is in the future. They're still progressing through. They haven't stopped yet. No Smite hasn't died yet. He has like a 15 kill streak or something dumb like that. We have a little bit of a whiffed. Well, it looked awesome, but it was a little bit of a whiffed Earth Shatter there. Still, X6 pushing through relatively strongly. Pretty soon, Effect is going to wake up. Effect is just going to go absolutely insane starting in a couple more seconds. And now, see, notice that though. Look at that. Look at this, right? Envyus is not being very aggressive, but we're going to see, like, so here's No Smite. He's at 200 health. All it takes is just a little bit of pressure. A little bit of pressure. Suddenly he's about to die. He can't really do much. He's forced to drop back. So I think Envyus could have leveraged the pressure a little bit more. But at the same time, the Junkrat is that's kind of what Junkrat does, right? So they actually swap off Taimu to a Mei. That's kind of weird. So the Mei is obviously pretty good at stalling near the end, right? Maybe Envyus thought that they were in stall mode. The Mei can wall off the Junkrat. That's pretty good too, right? So while it's strange and not something you'd normally expect, and it's not colloquially like the response to Junkrat, I think it's okay. I think it's not bad. I think it's not bad. Specifically in the situation where you have a Mei that can stall the last point. And X6 Gaming actually gets completely stopped here, finally. I don't think it's because of the Mei. I think it's just because, you know, eventually they had to lose, right? Eventually Envyus took him over. We had Effect stick a nice pulse bomb. He got a kill. We had some other kills on the back line early on. But look at this. Bam. The moment he died, No Smite swapped off to the Winston. Now, is Winston particularly super better against this cop than Junkrat? I think it's maybe a little bit better because the Mei has a difficult time dealing with the Winston as if you play the barrier correctly. But now with 3 minutes left on the clock, that was the most effective Junkrat. That was the most effective offensive Junkrat push in recent Overwatch history. So you just watch history happen. It's pretty cool. Maybe an inspiration for you next time you get an offensive Junkrat on your team. They're going to push this to the end, but we're not done yet. Not even close. We still have the other section of Dorado to go over where Envyus pushes. And not only do we get to see some cool stuff, but we also get to see Effect go absolutely nuts. And that's pretty cool, huh? So we're going to bring it to the next part. And voila. The gate's open. Let's take a look at what we have. So X6 Gaming is on defense now. Envyus is on attack. X6 Gaming not running a Junkrat because, well, we already talked about what the Junkrat was for. And it's not for defense. Because on defense, you're more like the attackers are more likely to all in you on defense. So it's not like the Junkrat is really forcing anything. That's just normally what teams do anyway. Yeah, chat. Reaper has actually been a weird pocket pick for a lot of mid-level tier 2 teams recently. It's kind of interesting how that works. Envyus is pushing in with a triple tank comp. Okay, so who wins here? We see Gods is on McCree. He's expecting some aggressive, divey type of thing. Effect is always going to play Tracer no matter what. Of course, Chips is going to play this. And yeah, pretty much the only thing you have a question of is what's Taimu going to play. Taimu, you'd think maybe he could play Soldier, right? But here he's going to actually play Roadhog. And as a result, this is great. This is great. Once again, Roadhog I think is better against more of the field than Soldier is, just going straight out of the gate. It gives you more flexibility. It's much easier to swap onto a Soldier than onto a Roadhog. And so X6 Gaming's a little bit overly defensive composition here, because I think that they expected a little bit more dive than they got. And as a result, we essentially have a McCree and a Roadhog versus Tracer and Roadhog. And actually, despite people thinking that Tracer counters McCree, which, you know, McCree flashbanging Tracer is pretty lame, but a good Tracer-like effect really, really is rough for a McCree player, because they're not just going to let you flashbang them for free. Hook onto the Winston, no problemo though, because there are divas on either side, so no one's going to die to this. But just you can see that the extra pressure on effect by effect, and the fact that he's doing so well in this is just going to force X6 Gaming back. And once Envyus gets a foot in the door here with their triple tank, and they have the dominant position, especially with No Smite being on Reinhardt as opposed to Coco being on Winston, Reinhardt has a hard time getting in. So, you know, once X6 is forced back, that's kind of it. They can't really take a step forward anymore. So Envyus taking full advantage of this, diving in. Effect is going to get a slick pulse bomb onto the enemy Ana, and that's going to seal the deal. And so notice here, by the way, this is actually a perfect example. Doesn't let himself get flashed because you have 3 blinks and a recall essentially. Now, you could think that it might be a mistake for Godsby to come in here and suicide like this. So here he's trying to get the kill onto Harry Hook, because if he kills this Lucio, then he delays Envyus for an okay amount of time. He didn't think that he could run away from Effect. That's why he did this. He didn't think that he would get away if he ran. He thought that Effect would eventually chase him off, which I think is probably the case. Or at least 50-50. But now we're going into the second phase. And Triple Tank not as good on the second phase, particularly Roadhog. So Roadhog can be good, right? But when you're playing against some of the best players in the world, they're not going to let you just hook them for free. Roadhog actually doesn't get a lot of time, like a lot of threat range on Dorado. If we take a look at it, step forward a little bit. Time it. Thank you. Okay. So if you look, you know, this is a building. There's nothing to hook there. People up above can hide from you at any time by just taking a step back. There really is not too, you know, Taimu's threat range is severely limited here on Roadhog. And this isn't aggro enough, quite aggro enough to really knock the high ground off. And we're going to see that having the Diva instead of something really hard like a Genji or something, it makes it a little bit rough, especially because X6 is so good at keeping on the high ground. And another thing that made Junkrat better, by the way, I almost forgot to say. So people aren't playing as much Zarya, right? Zarya is really good against Junkrat. Plus Zarya doesn't get 100% charged anymore from a Junkrat, just 80% charged. So that's one other little factor. So So let's take a look at this. So Taimu missed the hook, like I said. Very, very low time on target. Here, Gilly is about to use his sound barrier. You could say, oh, maybe it's a bit of a waste of a sound barrier. But at the same time, the idea of it is not a waste. The sound barrier was used because X6 wants the momentum back. Envyus, they got the momentum, and X6, they want to take it back. And so that sound barrier was just absolute insurance that nobody died, because if somebody died, then, well, that's it. X6 Gaming would lose all of their would lose their advantage. Envyus would respawn. They have the respawn advantage, and they would eventually wind up losing the position. But they still have 6 players. Pulse bomb. I don't think that's going to get anyone. Oh, it actually got effect. Effect blinked into it. Forgot about that. But overall, also remember, Tracer is much stronger on defense in vertical maps than she is on offense. Because on defense, we're seeing that Timeboy can just freely blink down whenever he wants to. But of course, Effect on Envyus cannot blink up whenever he wants to. So that's another big thing. Effect can't have as much of an effect. All right, yeah, we're done. As he normally wants to. So let's proceed. Okay. So 3 minutes left, 3 minutes 30 seconds. Still a pretty strong push so far by Envyus. Effect doing a good job being annoying. Almost sticks the sickest pulse bomb of all time, but not quite. Good reaction time also by the soldier player there, Godsby. That was not a lot of reaction time. He just marched straight off. And also, so here's a key part of this fight as well, is that Bebe, really, really slick timing on that Transcendence. Really, really slick. Look at this. He waited as long as he possibly could. Look at what his health was before he popped it. Yeah, 50. So that's going to save both the soldier and himself. And once again, Envyus having a hard time here. So Taimu did swap off to the McCree. That happened a little while ago. And that's because of the issue that they were having on the Roadhog. We already discussed that before. Still, though, the issue that Envyus is having isn't so much that they're dying to any sort of crazy dive strat, because they're not. It's just really a, you know, Winston Diva Tracer is okay, but it's not like the sick gonna truly wreck you dive. And they also realize that. They realize that, and they swap off. The problem is that they can't project enough. Whoa, they can't project enough as Envyus. They can't get up there because what they have is not enough. The dive, by the way, can we just see this one more time? And oh, hey, what's up, Effect? How are you doing? Let's have a little fight. Oh, yeah, that is how you win a game for your team. Just casually kill the other Tracer. So obviously that's a lot of pressure let off. It's pretty rough to ever try to come back from losing your main, you know, pressure hero that early on. X6 still does a pretty good job putting it back, because like I said before, Effect had to jump off. They can't really project as well. Now time moves on the soldier, so that will help them out quite a lot in the future fights. But still, I think it's kind of rough that Envyus is not as comfortable with the very mobile, aggressive strats, because they're certainly not. And it does show when they play Dorado. Whenever they kind of get into a rut on Dorado against a good team, they have a bit of an issue. Effect, though, this is their strat pretty much. Like, if Envyus is having an issue, they just say, okay, Effect, go kill everyone. And so that's what Effect does. He already got 2 kills. And because Taimu is still up, Taimu can project more than enough damage to clean up the fight. That's it. Envyus finally pushing through with 1 minute and 40 seconds left on the clock. But still, X6 Gaming holding them here for so long. Pretty cool. And they just do such a great job, by the way. Godsby, the soldier player, with Bebe, the Zenyatta player, and also with the support of Timeboy, the Tracer player, they just hold on to that high ground so well. Normally, Envyus's Winston Diva Tracer combo is enough to break through stuff, but X6 Gaming is saying no, that's not enough. You need to go even harder. You need a Genji or something to really break through. You need a Nano Boost or something like that. You need a little bit more to break through us. So another fight here. Effect has a Pulse Bomb. That would be a good way to break up the Transcendence, but he couldn't quite find a way through. And so the Winstons will be traded out. Not a big issue. People just shooting. So Godsby finds some really great shots here, by the way. And that really helps this team out. But now we see it simplified down. And when it simplifies down like this, normally you favor the defender. So here, you would normally expect, okay, there's 30 seconds left. Like fast heroes, like Chips. Now, remember, Chips was on a Zenyatta before. So they're going all in on this. They're going all in on this. Now, oh, the chat finally saw that. Cool. Now, Chips was on Zenyatta before, and I think it's a cool decision to just go all in. They see that they have Coco back. They have the Winston back. Mickey gets a self-destruct off that manages to kill Gilly. And so with that, with the switch onto Sombra from Chips, it's pretty cool. I thought that was a good play. Normally something that you would not expect. But Timeboy comes up, he engages, he gets the cart, and defender's advantage will start to be a factor here. Sick kill, by the way, on that Lucio. So Gilly couldn't quite get off his barrier. If he was able to get out the Som barrier, I think that X6 takes this fight no problemo. But that was just the craziest kill ever onto that Lucio using Sound barrier. So right now it looks like Envyus is going to lose, but like I said before, we get to see Effect go absolutely maniacal here. Godsby even gets off his ultimate through the EMP, and it doesn't matter. Chips and Effect basically combo out, get like 4 kills all by themselves, and Mickey is there to help. Mickey's there to help. So finally, Envyus pushes through to the 3rd point. Now, Chips will at some point want to swap off. He's staying for now, obviously, because they want to carry the momentum through. Effect has a Pulse Bomb. Pulse Bombs on Effect are particularly dangerous. More dangerous than you might think. He tries to go for one, doesn't quite get it. That's going to really, really hurt this team. Well, because with Chipsogen only on the Sombra as opposed to a more normal hero, they're really banking on that Pulse Bomb. X6 Gaming comes in, plays very aggressively, as they should, because there's only one support here for Envyus. They can clearly still see the Chips is on Sombra. Still, though, Envyus pushes through, and I think that, like I said before, this idea to go all in, because remember, Envyus is losing. Envyus is losing very, very badly. To be able to go and make the decision. There's my scene. To make the decision to go all in like that and just push to the end, it really shows their presence of mind. Normally, you take the safe route, you retreat, stick on your sports, go play the normal game, but not here. So now 19 seconds left. This is the last fight of the game, presumably of the round. Effect lands the sickest Pulse Bomb of all time. But oh, actually, that was a good. Let's look here. Okay, what's going on here? Oh man, that's a cluster. So Envyus has popped the barrier. They're looking pretty good here. They just killed Godsby. What could possibly go wrong? And the dive is working pretty well too. We have Effect over here pushing. We have Mickey on Diva pushing. We have Coco on Winston pushing. So we have this nice little triangle of death going on. So what happened? Well, Baby got some of the sickest shots of all time onto the Winston, put on a Discord Orb, 1, 2, 3 headshots. It's really hard to see there, but I went through it in slow motion earlier, and yeah, Baby really went insane there. And it's just so hard. It's so hard with the defender's advantage at this point. Envyus was too far down on time, and so this last stage I think that they played this last stage of the game absolutely phenomenally, absolutely spectacular. It's just that they didn't quite have a fast enough response to the Junkrat from X6 that No Smite played, and they didn't have quite a fast enough response to trying to break through that second point defense on Dorado. But man, I haven't done one of these in so long. A little bit rusty, maybe I'm. We'll see. I certainly have. You certainly do get better at things. I made a video yesterday. You get better at things once you take a break. So of course it takes a little while to get back to where you were before. So I hope you enjoyed it. I will be putting. I'll be keeping these up every day, and I'm going to be trying to put it on the main channel. So let me know, main channelers, how you like it, and if you want me to put it, if you know, because I figured that not everyone is interested in esports, maybe on my main channel. That's why I made the second channel. So yeah, we can take questions from the chat as well. Do I have any other announcements? Well, these are on my stream, by the way, Skyline_OW, Twitch TV. Every weekday, Monday through Friday. I'm gonna go maybe say 7 p.m. We're still trying to figure it out because I do a PUBG thing earlier on. I cast that, so we'll have to see. I will link the second channel in the description. I'll link the second channel to you guys in the chat in right now. And yeah, go ahead and ask some questions as well. We'll take maybe one or two. Where's Dumpling? Dumpling is outside. Where's Ducky? Ducky is somewhere out there. So it's pretty warm out. It's pretty warm where I live right now. So Ducky is just he's a husky, so he's just very like passive all the time, like I'm too hot to do things. We just turned the air conditioning on, so hopefully he'll get back up and alive. If you're taking a break from Overwatch, should you be watching Overwatch streams? You can, but I personally like to go cold turkey. I didn't even check I checked my email, but I really was not checking it too much. Any thoughts on the Defran debacle? I do have thoughts on the Defran debacle, and I might make like a I might make like a random vloggy discussion series, and that might go on that. One more question. What's the best way to practice firing projectile weapons? I can hit scan, but projectile is kind of hard. Well, the best way to practice, well, yeah. So with hit scan, it's always the same every single time. The thing with projectile is you want to be, if you're practicing in an environment where you have like you're practicing against boss or you're practicing against a friend, try to do the same distance consistently until you get that distance down, and then go a little bit further, and then go a little bit further, and then go a little bit further, and then go a little bit further. That's how you need to do that way. That's kind of how you have to do it. If you're doing projectile weapons, because you have to get used to the lead time of each separate distance. So try to practice short range, and then mid range, and then long range, and try to get each of them down individually. I might actually do a video about that. That's a good idea. I know someone who has some good techniques for practicing projectile weapons. We might even do a collab there. Can I get one more question, Frank? Yeah, you can ask me afterwards. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Should probably have another video as well later today. Never forget to stay positive and have a great day. See you soon.